If you're anything like us, you've probably thought of plants as these, well, relatively passive, static green things, just kind of being there.
Right, just part of the scenery.
Exactly. But prepare to have your whole understanding of the green world pretty much fundamentally reshaped.
Modern science is revealing some truly mind-blowing stuff.
It really is. The latest discoveries are, well, they're completely redefining how we see plant life. Our mission today is to take a real deep dive into their hidden senses,
Hmm,
and their, frankly, surprising communication methods, and maybe what we can learn from the really unique solutions for survival.
okay. So for this deep dive, we've been looking into excerpts from a documentary, New Scientific Discoveries That Change Everything About Plants from S.I. Sarif on YouTube,
Right, that one's fascinating.
and also pulling some incredible insights from Planetary Plant Revelations.
Good sources, a lot to unpack there.
Definitely. So let's start with just the sheer sensory world of plants. I mean, it's kind of foundational now that plants can move, sure, but beyond that, oh, way beyond that, recent studies have proven they can also smell and touch, taste, hear, even perceive shapes, believe it or not.
Perceived shapes, wow.
Yeah. They react to all sorts of stimuli, and get this, they seem to possess memory.
Okay, that's already huge. And when you look closer, there are these, well, surprising overlaps with us, with humans.
Absolutely. They have a vascular system, right?
Uh-huh.
It's a lot like our own veins and arteries moving fluids around.
Mhm.
And they also have an electric network. It's quite similar in principle to our nerves. Information travels along it.
An electric network.
Yeah, and just like us, they secrete hormones too.
But here's the real kicker, isn't it? Unlike us, plants don't have a heart or a brain. Things we think are absolutely essential.
Exactly. But through evolution, they've developed these incredibly original solutions because they're rooted,
Yeah.
because they're sedentary. They had to find other ways.
Which brings us to Stefano Mancuso. He's a professor, University of Florence, founded the first international lab for vegetal neurobiology.
Right. Mancuso's work is groundbreaking. He emphasizes that plants are actually much more sensitive than animals.
More sensitive. How so?
Well, think about it. It's a critical survival imperative. They can't run away from danger, right?
They're stuck.
So they must sense danger or resources or opportunities with extraordinary precision. It also really reinforces this idea that sensitivity isn't exclusively linked to having a brain or neurons.
Ah, I see. Other cells can transmit signals perfectly well for their needs.
Precisely. Their very vulnerability forces them to be hyper-aware.
That's a profound thought.
Hmm.
Okay, so they're taking in all the sensory information,
Yeah.
but how quickly do they actually process it? Is it like a totally different timescale?
It absolutely is. The speed of those electric signals in plants. Bruno Moulia's team, that's at the French National Research Institute for Agriculture, Food, and Environment,
Oh, no.
they observed it's only about 6 to 8 centimeters per minute.
Per minute. Wow, compared to us.
It's incredibly slow. Humans are around 100 meters per second. But for plants, this slower speed is perfectly logical. It's even advantageous given they don't need lightning-fast reflexes like an animal.
That makes sense.
They mainly use two types of signals. An electric one that travels dozens of centimeters, and a hydraulic signal that can go all the way down to the roots.
So hydraulic, like fluid pressure changes.
Exactly. Changes in water pressure carrying information.
Okay, so it's a very different timescale from our nervous system. How does a plant manage to effectively, I don't know, decide or react to things like drought with such slow processing?
Well, it points to a really unique and very efficient strategy. Take water management, for instance. The roots are the first to know there's a lack of water.
Right down in the soil.
They send a signal upwards, could be electric, could be hydraulic, that causes the stomata. Those are the little mouth-like pores on the leaves.
For gas exchange.
Exactly. It causes them to shrink, to close up. This cuts down on water loss, but also reduces carbon dioxide intake, so growth slows down. It's a highly efficient plant-level drought response that works perfectly well at their speed.
That's incredible. Such precise water management. But beyond these internal signals, what about like external stuff? Can plants actually hear? Can they perceive sounds?
Ah, that's a fascinating area. And the answer seems to be surprisingly yes. Though maybe not hearing like we think of it.
How so?
Well, Daniel Chamovitz, he's a botanical genetic scientist, discovered a gene in plant hairs.
Plant hairs.
Yeah, similar to genes involved with the vibrating hairs in our own inner ears. Now, in plants, this gene forms root hairs, which are crucial for absorbing water, not for listening like us.
Okay, so the gene is similar, but the function is different.
Right. but it does open the door to thinking about how they might perceive vibrations or sounds in other ways.
So maybe no ears, but they can still pick up on sonic cues. What are they listening for?
Well, Stefano Mancuso again. He found that plants absolutely seem to use sound information, particularly from the soil,
From the soil. Like what?
to get clues about soil quality, maybe the amount of water, even obstacles. His research showed roots will actually turn towards sound sources between 100 and 1,000 hertz.
Towards sound.
Yeah. But interestingly, they grow away from sources above 5,000 hertz.
Huh. So it's not like they're enjoying Beethoven or something.
Definitely not. It shows they react to specific frequencies that are probably relevant to their survival, finding water, avoiding obstructions, maybe even detecting digging insects.
That is truly remarkable.
Yeah.
And it's not just about perceiving it, right? It's about what they do with that information. You mentioned pollinators.
Exactly. Lila Cadney's research, this was from the University of Tel Aviv, is just stunning. She looked at how flowers, which are often concave, kind of like little satellite dishes,
Right, I can picture that.
they actually vibrate in response to specific pollinator sounds, like a bee buzzing nearby. And this vibration triggers the flower to produce much sweeter nectar, like the sugar levels can increase by up to 30%.
Get out. So they only sweeten the deal when a customer's actually there.
Precisely. It's an incredible energy-saving mechanism. Why waste sugar if no pollinators are around? And apparently they can even differentiate between the buzz of a pollinator and, say, wind noise or other non-pollinating insects.
Wow. They're actively responding, almost like a dialogue with the bees. Okay, this leads me to wonder, if they can perceive sound, do they also make sounds? Are they communicating their own state?
It turns out, yes, they do. This was another groundbreaking discovery from Lila Cadney's team. They found that plants emit ultrasonic clicks.
Ultrasonic, so we can't hear them.
Nope. They're typically between 20 to 100 kilohertz. Human hearing tops out around 16 kilohertz, maybe 20 if you're young. She described the sounds as being like bursting popcorn.
Bursting popcorn, that's a great description. What information do these clicks carry? Could this be useful?
Oh, definitely informational. The number and intensity of clicks go up when the plant is stressed,
Stressed how?
like from being cut or pinched, or especially when deprived of water. The sounds can even start to decline if the plant gets really dry, almost like it's giving up.
Wow. So you could potentially listen to your crops.
Exactly. It opens up incredible potential for farmers. Imagine being able to literally listen to your field and know exactly when and where plants are stressed, maybe needing water, long before you could see it visually. It could change agriculture.
That's revolutionary.
It is, though we should be clear, it's not yet certain if plants are doing this to actively speak to each other. It might just be a byproduct of stress, like cavitation bubbles forming and bursting in the xylem tissue.
Right. Cause and effect versus intentional communication. Understood. Okay, let's shift from sound to scent. We all know plants smell roses, pine, cut grass. But is it more than just attraction or defense? Are they using these smells as signals?
Absolutely. Each plant species has its own unique olfactory signature. It's made up of complex, fragrant compounds, often stored in little capsules or bulbs on the leaves. Think of tomatoes, cannabis, lavender. Very distinct.
Yeah. And some plants have taken this smelling ability to a whole different kind of scary level, right? Like hunters?
Oh, yeah. That's where Professor Consuelo de Maria's work comes in. She's at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich. She studies Cuscuta, daughter vine.
Ah, yes, the parasitic one.
Exactly. It's fascinating. It lacks roots, it can't photosynthesize, so it has to steal from other plants. And how does it find a victim? It smells them.
It smells them like which plant smells tasty.
Pretty much. It can sniff out specific host plants, like tomatoes, and even seems to assess their health. It doesn't just latch on to the first thing it touches, it makes a choice.
It chooses its victim based on smell. That's creepy.
It is. Once it finds a suitable, healthy host, it wraps around, sinks in its little feeding tubes. Hostoria sucks the sap, makes sure it reproduces itself, and then, yeah, it often dies along with its exhausted host.
Wow. Nature's brutal sometimes. So besides hunting, can they use smell to recognize threats like insects?
They certainly seem to. Research shows plants can perceive insect pheromones.
Pheromones, like the signals insects use to communicate.
Exactly, like from Eurostaphylos, for example. The plant smells these pheromones, recognizes it as an indicator of an upcoming threat, maybe eggs being laid, and then defends itself.
How does it defend itself?
It might do different things. One example is changing its flowering time to avoid the period when the insects are most active.
Clever. That really opens up possibilities for ecological farming, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Working with the plant's own defenses.
A huge field, yes. Understanding these chemical conversations is key.
Okay, so we've covered touch, taste, smell, sound. What about sight? How do plants see? They don't have eyes, obviously.
Right, no eyes. But in a way, they see with every single one of their cells.
Every cell.
Essentially, yes.
Oh.
Each cell can detect light and translate those light signals into actions, things like germination, growth towards light, flowering.
And their vision is different from ours, right? They see more.
Much more, in some ways. We see the rainbow spectrum, visible light. Plants perceive all of that, but they also see UV light, which we can't, and far red light, which is also invisible to us.
Far red light.
Yeah, it's at the edge of the visible spectrum. It gives them crucial information about shade and competition from other plants. It's why, those hydroponic farms often use specific red and blue lights, sometimes UV too, because they understand this broader spectrum plants use for photosynthesis and growth regulation.
So they're perceiving this whole invisible light dimension around them, and they use it to communicate too.
It seems so. Elbita Frack's research, she's also at Emory, shows plants communicate using light signals, especially in that near-infrared range, 700, 800 nanometers, which again, we can't see.
What are they telling each other with invisible light?
Things like, hey, I'm here. Basically, they use these wavelengths reflected off leaves to locate themselves in space relative to their neighbors. They can tell if they're surrounded, if they're crowded.
And then they adapt their growth based on that.
Exactly. If a plant detects lots of far red light, which indicates shade from neighbors, it might reduce its branching and focus on growing taller to reach the sunlight.
Smart. People are even making mathematical models based on this.
Yeah, to try and predict how whole plant communities interact and arrange themselves based on these subtle, unseen light signals.
It really feels like plants aren't just reacting moment to moment. You mentioned memory earlier. Bruno Muglia's work on wind reactions sounds fascinating.
Oh, it really is. He found that plants literally get used to wind. If you subject them to successive wind blasts, their reaction diminishes. They habituate.
Okay, like getting used to a background noise.
Sort of, but more profound. They can remember these wind patterns for over a week.
A week? That's significant memory for a plant.
It is, and what's really surprising is that trees that are regularly bent by wind actually grow twice as much wood in diameter on the side facing the stress.
Twice as much. To strengthen themselves.
Exactly. And they respond more strongly to strong or unusual gusts compared to the regular background wind. This implies an active memory, maybe over very long periods, possibly their whole lifespan. They seem to distinguish between normal, everyday wind and potentially dangerous gales. It's all about building resilience.
Incredible. And this idea of remembering and adapting, it connects to how trees straighten up after being bent, right? That old mystery.
Yes. Wilhelm Pfeffer showed this with moving pictures way back in the early 1900s, this irreversible tendency of trees to grow upright again. And Bruno Muglia did experiments using uniform lighting from all directions.
To rule out light seeking.
Right. And the plants still straightened up, so it wasn't just phototropism growing towards light.
So how do they know which way is up, especially when they're bent over?
It's an elegant cellular mechanism. They have special cells, often in the roots and shoots, that contain dense starch grains called statoliths.
Starch grains.
Yeah. Think of them like tiny pebbles inside the cell. When the plant bends, gravity pulls these grains, and they fall and pile up on the lower side of the cell like a tiny avalanche. And the asymmetry of this pile, where the pebbles are, tells the plant which way is down and therefore how much it's tilted.
That's brilliant. So it's like a built-in level sensor in their cells.
Exactly. It's a form of proprioception.
Proprioception. That's our sense of knowing where our body parts are in space.
Precisely. Plants have it too. They know their own position. They even showed this in experiments using a gravitron, basically simulating weightlessness, and the plants could still orient themselves. It's a vital sense for any organism that grows and navigates a changing environment.
So plants are incredibly sensitive. They communicate in multiple ways. They have memory. They adapt. What does this mean for how we understand them as, communities, especially underground?
It means we've really underestimated their collective intelligence, particularly in the roots. Francisco Lua and Stefano Mancuso, again, they observed the root tips, the apexes.
The growing points.
Yes, the bits that are constantly exploring, searching for water and nutrients. They found that all these individual root apexes seem to be coordinated in their activities and their growth patterns. They described it as resembling an insect swarm.
A swarm, like decentralized intelligence.
Exactly, forming a kind of collective intelligence.
And this root-wide web, as they called it. It's resilient because it's decentralized.
That's the key. There's no single central organizer, no root brain. This makes the network incredibly resilient. If one part gets damaged, the rest can carry on. It's self-organizing, adaptive, great at surviving stress.
Well,
Information from multiple root tips guides the overall direction, the speed of growth, where to branch out. It's quite sophisticated. And the apex is crucial. If you cut off just the very tip, the root often just grows straight. It stops searching effectively.
so that tip holds the key decision-making ability for that root.
Seems like it, or at least the primary sensing.
But the underground network is even bigger than just the plant's own roots, right? There are fungi involved.
Oh, absolutely. This is where it gets even more interconnected. We're talking about mycorrhizal fungi.
Micah, what?
Mycorrhiza. These are fungi that grow in symbiosis with plant roots. They form these vast, vast underground networks.
How vast.
They can increase the effective reach and absorption capacity of a tree's root system by, well, orders of magnitude. Some estimates say up to 10,000 times.
10,000 times.
Yeah. The fungal threads, the hyphae, are much finer than roots and can explore tiny soil pores. They act as extensions of the root system.
And they link different trees together.
They do. They play a crucial linking and relaying role between trees, even trees of different species. They exchange information chemical signals, but also resources like rare minerals and sugars. It's like a biological internet beneath our feet. The Wood Wide Web, some call it.
The Wood Wide Web. I like that. And trees actually share resources through this network. It's not just competition.
It's definitely not just competition. Research from the Weizmann Institute in Israel showed trees share significant amounts of carbon, basically sugars made during photosynthesis, with their neighbors via this fungal network.
Even between different species.
Yes. They found, for example, that up to 40% of the fine root biomass of a pine tree could actually be carbon that originated in a nearby oak tree, transferred through the mycorrhiza.
40%. That's huge. So it's a real partnership.
It is, and it's actively managed. Both the trees and the fungi seem to have some control. Trees can apparently reduce the carbon they give to fungi that aren't providing enough nutrients in return.
Like cutting off a bad business partner.
Sort of. And the fungi, if one host tree isn't doing well, can shift resources or even primarily associate with a healthier neighbor. The carbon transfer is pretty efficient too. They tracked it moving from leaves down to roots in about 3 days, and then from one tree's roots to another's 5 meters away in just 6 days.
So it's dynamic managed sharing. And this has real implications for survival, doesn't it?
Absolutely profound implications for resilience. There's this powerful example of a shaded pine tree, one that wasn't getting enough light to photosynthesize effectively on its own. It survived because it was connected through the mycorrhizal network to another sunlit pine tree, which was sending it the carbon it needed.
Wow. So the network kept it alive.
Exactly. It's not just a nice ecological story. It fundamentally underscores why biodiversity is so important. Diverse forests create these intricate, complex networks, making the whole ecosystem much more resilient to stress, disease, climate change. It really challenges our often individualistic view of survival. In nature, strength often comes from this deep, hidden interdependence.
Okay. So if we connect all this, if we look at the bigger picture, what does it all mean?
Well, it means these discoveries are truly revolutionizing our understanding, right? Plants are just incredibly complex. They're sensory beings, they're communicative, they're arguably intelligent in their own way, far, far beyond what we used to think.
It really does blur the boundaries, doesn't it? The lines we draw between human, animal, plant, they seem much less solid now.
Absolutely. It feels like nothing less than a revolution in how we think about life on Earth.
And this shift, it carries some real weight, ethically too.
It does. When you start seeing plants as these aware, interconnected beings, it has to change your relationship with them. You mentioned the Swiss Federal Ethics Committee on Non-Human Biotechnology.
Yes.
They actually put forward the view that plants, much like animals, possess a certain dignity, a moral value. That's a challenging idea, asking us to rethink how we treat the plant world.
It really highlights our interdependence too.
Critically so. You know, if humans disappeared tomorrow, plants would likely take over the planet relatively quickly. But if plants disappeared, all terrestrial life, including us, would probably vanish within weeks or months. We depend on them utterly.
It's a sobering thought. Okay, so given everything we've just talked about, all these surprising complexities in plants,
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what?
What other organisms we consider simple might be out there? What undiscovered senses, what hidden forms of communication might they possess, just waiting to completely revolutionize our understanding of life all over again.
Please click like and then subscribe. Also share this video with your friends. Thank you.